Tonight, it's cold, real cold.
It's only cold if you're out here without clothes on. It's warm if you dress appropriately.
A polar vortex grips the nation's capital and much of Canada as some embrace the extreme weather. Another tariff threat from south of the border.
It's a serious statement. Take it seriously, but we have to control what we control.
The latest in what has become a roller coaster ride of trade negotiations with the United States as President Donald Trump threatens 100% tariffs on Canadian goods. And celebrating a Sens icon.
I never thought of receiving an honor like that. I'm really emotional about it.
Jacques Martin joins the Senators' Ring of Honor. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this freezing Saturday. Dangerously cold weather has settled over Ottawa and the surrounding region as people do what they can to stay warm. CTV's Camille Wilson is one of those people outside. She's braving the elements for us tonight. So, Camille, how are you holding up?
Austin, absolutely. I've got my hat, my ear muffs, double pairs of gloves, double layers on, all just to stay warm. That's how many were dressed today and should be throughout this biting cold weather as Ottawa is seeing its coldest winter in 3 years. Oh, goodness. One word sums up how this group is tackling the extreme cold while skating on the Rideau Canal.
Preparedness.
We packed everything from snow pants, long underwear.
Wendy Scott says she has so many layers she can't even sit down to put on her skates.
I got outdoor skates which are insulated, so they're warmer than normal skates, and not figure skates that are not insulated, so my feet actually don't get cold when I'm skating.
And those layers are needed as minus 20 degrees weather settles over Ottawa this weekend. Despite the cold, the sun is out, and these friends are looking on the bright side.
What do you do in the wintertime? Stay indoors or get out and enjoy the events that we have here in our great country? Well, the Rideau Canal is a historic thing.
It's great to enjoy the Canadian outdoors at this time of year.
But while some are embracing the freezing conditions, living through a polar vortex brings about serious health risk, especially for those experiencing homelessness. Shelters like the Ottawa Mission and Shepherds of Good Hope doing what they can to help.
We are over capacity as usual. We have 250 beds at the shelter. We're opening our drop-in program overnight as an emergency warming shelter.
Extreme weather can be fatal. Last January, 2 people were found dead outside during cold snaps.
If we're seeing people outside, we can call 311 to try and get them shelter placement. If we're worried about people, it's important to be calling 911 if there's a medical emergency.
With temperatures like this, within 10 minutes of having exposed skin, frostbite can take place. Those on the canal say because it's sheltered, it reduces the wind.
You don't feel the wind as much down in here. It's great, warmer.
It's only cold if you're out here without clothes on. It's warm if you dress appropriately. It's Canadian weather. It's not that cold. It's only, minus 22 without the wind chill?
I believe that I'm dressed appropriately in multiple layers, and I'm still feeling the cold weather. If you can, cover up all exposed areas such as your cheeks, your ears, your fingers as well, just to keep warm. Drink warm fluids, and please, if your clothes get wet while you are outside, change as soon as possible. Austin.
Okay, Camille, get inside. Thank you very much for this tonight. We appreciate it. And as bone-chilling temperatures sweep right across Canada, with parts of the country seeing wind chill values plummeting down into the minus 50s, it is causing some issues for travelers at Canada's major airports. Here's CTV's Kamal Karamali.
Intense cold sweeping across the country today, leading to flight cancellations and delays at most major airports.
Flight was changed 3 times yesterday, but we got a flight this evening. We are going home.
I'm really hoping we don't get cancelled because on the way over we got delayed. It took, over 24 hours to get to, here from Europe.
Here at Toronto's Pearson Airport, plenty of delays and cancellations. Air Canada says that extreme cold at airports in Toronto and Montreal is causing delays, and customers can rebook at no cost. While WestJet has similar advisories in airports at Halifax, Moncton, and Quebec City. Cold alerts and warnings spanning across the country today, with parts of the northern prairies seeing warnings that have the wind chill plunging down to the minus 50s. And in Ontario and Quebec, cold weather alerts with winds making some regions feel as frigid as minus 45.
I think most people understand that there can be a risk of death, especially from hypothermia. But one thing that we see working on the front line is that people can also incur disability. Frostbite is not neutral. It can have devastating impacts on your life.
The extreme winter weather far from over, with a winter storm now expected to wall up most of southern Ontario and parts of Quebec tomorrow. Kamala Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
So a lot of people wondering exactly when this cold weather will cease. And unfortunately, it's going to be cold for a little while. But we do have some, well, a bit of a warm up coming in a couple of days. We'll have more on that in a little bit. Right now, we're sitting at minus 24 degrees. Mostly clear conditions over the course of this evening. Tonight's low, however, minus 29 degrees. And when you factor in the wind, obviously feeling cooler than that. Minus 28 in Brockville, minus 29 in Kittigan-Zibi as well. Same goes for Gatineau. And if we look at tomorrow's highs, we will be warming up. We have some snow in the forecast, more snow in the forecast for Brockville and for Cornwall. We'll be sitting at around minus 18 degrees as the high for the day, and that's the same in Gatineau. New escalations today in the tension between Canada and the United States. President Donald Trump has threatened new tariffs on Canada, warning the Prime Minister about doing a deal with China. CTV's Jeremy Charon has the latest.
It's a Saturday morning social media launch threat by U.S. President Donald Trump, who for the first time today gave Prime Minister Mark Carney a new title. If Governor Carney thinks he is going to make Canada a drop-off port for China to send goods and products into the United States, he is sorely mistaken, wrote the president, adding if Canada makes a deal with China, it will immediately be hit with 100% tariffs against all Canadian goods and products coming into the USA. A complete 180 from just a week ago.
It's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
The news coming as ministers and MPs gathered on Parliament Hill today for a Liberal caucus meeting.
You know, it's a serious statement. We'll take it seriously, but we have to control what we control.
In response today, Dominic LeBlanc, the minister in charge of Canada-U.S. trade, said Canada and the United States have built a remarkable partnership in our economy and security, and we will remain focused on ensuring the future of that relationship will benefit workers and businesses on both sides of our border, adding there is no pursuit of a free trade deal with China. What was achieved was a resolution on several important tariff issues. While the Prime Minister, who abruptly canceled the press conference in Quebec City yesterday, posted this social media message today.
We can't control what other nations do. We can be our own best customer.
Which comes on the heels of his big speech in Davos.
Was that speech a mistake if this is Trump's reaction?
No, it was the right message at the right time from the right guy.
Now, the war of words comes as CUSMA review talks are set to ramp up over the next 6 months. A decision on the future of the deal needs to be made by July 1st. Jeremy Charon, CTV News, Ottawa.
Ontario's police watchdog, the Special Investigations Unit, is investigating after a fatal crash that happened last night. The SIU says one man is dead, but his identity is yet to be released. In a statement to CTV News, a spokesperson for the Special Investigations Unit says Ottawa police officers may have been in and around the area at the time of the man's death, which is why the SIU was called in. A stretch of Bank Street between Boyd Road and Morningside Avenue has been closed for much of the day. And more than 100 people were forced outside today as Ottawa fire crews responded to 2 separate incidents involving dangerous levels of carbon monoxide. The first happened at the Hyatt Place Hotel on Moody Drive. The building's manager called 911 shortly after 8 o'clock this morning, reporting an unknown odor inside and some experiencing watery eyes. There were also some alarms sounding in some of the guests' rooms. About 100 people were forced out of the hotel, and OC Transpo buses were brought in to keep them warm. The second incident happened at a retirement home on Island Lodge Road just before 9 o'clock this morning. Well, turning now to a significant cleanup effort that was underway on Riverside Drive at the TD Bank Friday after a vehicle crashed into the building. Ottawa paramedics say a 70-year-old man was taken to hospital as a precaution after the car collided with the building at around 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Paramedics also say some people were inside the bank at the time of the crash, but none required medical assistance. The vehicle struck a storage area inside the bank. The Ottawa Fire Service's structural collapse team was dispatched to provide temporary support for the building. Well, an organization that supports women in crisis is marking a pivotal milestone this year. Harmony House provides transitional housing for women who are fleeing abuse here in the nation's capital. CTV's Kimberly Johnson joins us now with more on this milestone. Kimberly.
Austin, Harmony House officials say that they are filled with mixed emotions as they mark 40 years. The organization has supported thousands of women and children, providing services to help them heal. But they say, unfortunately, the need continues to grow. Today, I spoke with one woman who lived in one of the Harmony House homes and calls the organization life-saving.
We would all come in and just the kids would run around, they would climb.
This is a place of importance for Chris, one of support in a time of crisis for her and her daughter.
The moment I walked through these doors, everything changed for the better.
Chris is a former resident of Harmony House, which provides stable transitional housing for women fleeing abuse. CTV News Ottawa has agreed not to show Chris's face and use only her first name. She moved into one of these apartments after living in an emergency shelter for 3 months with her daughter, saying this was a place of community for them for a year and a half.
I had my own space. I had, people who were like, here's your new. Everything starts anew now, and we're here to help you with it.
The organization is marking 40 years of serving Ottawa.
We want to show them what a life without violence or abuse can look like.
The executive director says on top of housing, families are offered counseling, childcare, and career support, as well as everything inside the homes from pots to towels.
It's so important for the second stage housing to be a stable place for them to heal and recover before they move on to their next stage of living.
In all, they've helped about 3,000 families, but today the need is growing. The wait list includes up to 80 families, and as the charity looks to the future, it's fundraising to buy more apartments and hire more staff to help women and children quickly.
We need to meet the need to make sure the children have a more stable environment.
It's not just a unit. It's your home. It was my home.
Today, Chris says because of Harmony House, she has a degree in event management and has moved out with her daughter. She's speaking out so others know they too can have a future.
It took me a long time to get to this point, to sit in this chair. And it wasn't clean, it was messy. And that's okay for it to be messy. I just need you to get to this chair with me.
Harmony House will mark 40 years with a fundraising breakfast event on March 2nd. Tickets are being sold online. The executive director says that they are also putting out a call to former residents who may want to come and share their story, both in person and anonymously at the event. Austin?
Okay, CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Kimberly, thank you very much for this. Well, 30 years after his coaching job began with the Ottawa Senators, his very first game behind the bench with the Sens, Jacques Martin is being honored by the team that he helped to build. Ahead of the game tonight, the Sens will be adding Martin to the Ring of Honor, recognizing a legacy that still shapes a franchise. CTV's Josh Morano joins us live in studio with more on this. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Exactly 30 years to the day since Martin coached his first Sens game. He's now being immortalized by the organization and the city. 30 years since becoming head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Jacques Martin is being inducted into the team's Ring of Honor.
I never thought of receiving an honor like that. I'm really emotional about it.
Martin joined the Sens in 1996, tasked with guiding a young expansion team. From there, he would go on to become the winningest head coach in franchise history, reaching the playoffs in each of his 8 full seasons.
If it wouldn't have been for the tremendous talent that was presented to me, we wouldn't achieve what we were able to achieve.
The Rockland, Ontario native is joining the late Ryan Murray, defenseman Wade Redden, and longtime team doctor Don Chow in the ring. His recognition going beyond the ring.
I, Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, do hereby proclaim January 24th, 2026 as Jacques Martin Day in Ottawa.
He's from the Ottawa area. He went to school here. He coached here. He's a member of our community. He's a proud Franco-Ontarian. So to have the opportunity to honor Jacques today, I think is really special.
Martin now serves in a senior advisor role and the team says his legacy still resonates.
He was a big part of the culture that we've had here for a very long time. So I'm really happy for him, really happy for the city as well, and it's a well-deserved honor.
Everyone in the hockey world knows him and knows what a great hockey man he is. It's been great for me to be able to work with him. He's a great person as well, not just a great coach.
Martin has spent 35 years coaching at the NHL level, including as an associate coach for 2 Canadian Olympic teams, but he says the team he enjoyed coaching the most is Ottawa.
It was a tremendous honor to coach those young men and to be part of an organization that really understood the team concept. That it's not about one person, it's about the team.
Martin's Ring of Honor ceremony will take place ahead of the Sens game tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes, cementing and immortalizing his legacy not just in team history, but in the city itself. Austin.
An absolute legend here in Ottawa. Josh, thank you very much for this. Well, the 7th annual Free Day of Dentistry at Affinity Dental in Orleans went ahead today.
By far, easily our favorite day of the year. We get to give back to the community that supports us and keeps us afloat and able to serve the community, so it's our little way of giving back.
People were welcomed in on a first-come, first-served basis to receive essential dental care at no cost. Services include dental cleanings, fillings, or tooth extractions, and Affinity Dental says nearly $25,000 worth of service was provided free of charge today.
The gas demand is up, and demand goes up, prices go up.
Still ahead, as a polar vortex settles across the country, the freezing cold temperatures are making it more expensive to stay warm. Before we go to break, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is minus 22 degrees. A man has died in hospital after he was shot by federal immigration officers in Minneapolis. And as we wait to learn more about the incident, many in the city are on edge.
The community has been talking to each other as real people, and these people have come in and been hurting us. They've been attacking us when we've been doing nothing but following the law, peacefully observing, and then they decide to gang up and kill one of us.
According to the Associated Press, a U.S. Department of Homeland Security official said the man had a gun with 2 magazines and that the situation was evolving. The department shared a photo of a handgun it says was on the person who was shot. The Minneapolis police chief identified him as a 37-year-old. The shooting comes as clashes between protesters and ICE agents have become a daily occurrence.
The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement.
How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city? As you'll hear from Director Sayer in just a second, we have seen these kinds of operations in other places, in other countries, but not here in America. Not in a way where a great American city is being invaded by its own federal government.
Today's shooting took place a couple of kilometers away from where 37-year-old Renee Good was shot dead by an ICE agent just over 2 weeks ago. With Arctic security front and center, Canada's role in the North is being scrutinized. But the federal government is reassuring the U.S. and NATO allies that it is doing its part to protect the region. CTV's Heather Wright takes a first-hand look from the Northwest Territories.
The thermometer says minus 30, but with the wind chill, it feels more like minus 40. And even snowmobiles don't like to start in the extreme cold.
These vehicles may be difficult to start. We have like the pull cord as well to make sure that we can operate them anywhere.
The climate is the thread line through all military activity in the Arctic, centered here at Joint Task Force North in Yellowknife. Exercises like the one we joined today are ongoing, a way to both train soldiers and maintain a presence in the north.
Visibility, presence, definitely one, our part of our mission here, and we're covering like 40% of Canada's landmass, 75% of its coastline, and through 4 time zones.
The federal government has committed to spending billions of dollars more on the Canadian Armed Forces, and that includes money for Arctic security. And even earlier this week, Prime Minister Mark Carney said part of solving the crisis with Greenland is beefing up security here in the north.
Today, Denmark's Prime Minister visited Greenland in a show of support for the autonomous territory. U.S. President Donald Trump's threats to annex the island have brought more scrutiny to Canada's own Arctic security, with some leaders in the north saying Canada is long overdue in making significant investments in both military and infrastructure.
I think the time when we can just hope to ride the coattails of American efforts in the Arctic, I think we've seen how well that's working out for us. The Prime Minister probably put it best. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I think as Northerners, we feel like we'd be the main course.
Ottawa has committed $1 billion over 4 years for Arctic infrastructure, things like airstrips, deep water ports, and all-season roads. But critics say after decades of underinvestment, much more is needed.
Heather Wright, CTV News.
Well, this cold weather is gripping millions of Canadians as the temperature drops. It's also becoming more expensive to keep warm. CTV's Adrian Gobriel now on how energy prices and the cold are combining for a 1-2 punch.
An Arctic air mass is siphoning the spirit of some Canadians.
Oh my God, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I stay home most of the time.
Though staying home these days is far from a free ride with natural gas prices on the rise.
A gas spike right now is because it's cold right through Canada and the United States. So the gas demand is up, and demand goes up, prices go up.
Western Canada is a net exporter of natural gas. Utilities heating homes in Eastern Canada import the bulk of their natural gas from the United States, where the cost is now soaring.
We've seen some prices in the U.S. Midwest spike to over $70 per MMBTU. I mean, these are massive prices, but they're cold weather related.
From forest fires to a historic deep freeze, Canada's climate is affecting the economy, with Canadian households bearing the brunt of the costs. The Canadian Climate Institute has estimated that by 2050, extreme weather events could cost the country between $78 and $101 billion per year in losses, depending on future greenhouse gas emissions.
Whether it's heat causing wildfires or extreme cold freezing your pipes, I'll have to leave a tap dripping to make sure my pipes don't freeze, because if they do, that's a huge expense.
In parts of Manitoba, schools have been shuttered today, with temperatures plunging to dangerous depths.
Manitobans are tough. If it's too cold to go to school in Manitoba, it's cold.
As a deep freeze keeps its frosty grip on both sides of the border, many Canadians can expect the cost to heat their homes to remain elevated.
One alternative that could save you some money is a heat pump that both cools and heats your home on a budget, though it does come with an upfront cost. Any way you slice it, staying warm is the priority tonight and through the weekend. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
One of the most wanted men in the world is a free man no more. Former Olympic snowboarder and alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding is in police custody. American authorities say he surrendered in Mexico, where it's believed he had been hiding for some time. Wedding is also accused of masterminding murders in Ontario as part of enforcement for his sprawling drug trafficking organization. CTV's John Woodward has more.
Multiple victims targeted on Ontario streets, including Jagtar Sidhu and his wife Harbhajan Sidhu, gunned down in November 2023 in Caledon. It was supposed to be retribution for a stolen cocaine shipment, but authorities confirmed the Sidhus had nothing to do with it. It was a case of mistaken identity.
We never even argued with anyone, so we do not understand who can do this.
Charged with murder, former Canadian snowboarder turned kingpin Ryan Wedding and his alleged second-in-command Andrew Clark. Also killed Randy Fader in Niagara Falls in 2024. Court documents link one of the men charged to Wedding's organization, his mother posting to social media, "I can't thank USA enough for their efforts in getting Ryan Wedding. It means the world to the family."
We've arrested 36 people for their role in this organization.
Canadians were caught in the investigation too, including truckers, some convicted of bringing cocaine north of the border in hidden compartments in semi-trailers.
Whoa.
This video of the operation in Florida that arrested a Montreal landlord and music producer, Naheem Jorge Bonilla, charged with drug trafficking. There's also an alleged hitman and the blogger accused of giving him a photo of the witness he would shoot, as well as a high-profile defense lawyer in Ontario accused of giving the legal advice. Kill the witness, no more case. He's on bail for $5 million.
We see mountain of drugs, cash, weapons. We seized the Mercedes-Benz, estimated over $15 million. We seized dozens of motorcycles worth approximately $40 million. And other valuable artwork and jewelry.
Much of those valuables traceable to alleged money man Roland Sokolovsky. He's asking for bail too, a publication ban in place in case Wedding or his associates decided to kill any witnesses there too.
That's very significant. I mean, this is a dangerous man and part of a huge organization.
An organization that does have some members still at large, including Tommy DeMorizzi, Bianca Canastillo Madrid, and Gennady Bilanog. John Woodward, CTV News.
This is not meant to be something permanent. This is an emergency temporary shelter that we've had to build.
An Ontario community helping the homeless during this dangerous cold snap with emergency temporary shelters. That story coming up.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
There's a live look at some of the highways here in Ottawa. Pretty clear out there on the roads tonight, but probably some traffic building up on the way to the CTC as people make their way to the Sens game as Ottawa gets ready to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. But for the most part, things are moving quite smoothly. It is extremely cold. We've been talking about it all week and bracing for this weekend weather. Well, it's finally here, and it's a great day to be ice, I guess. Especially, look at this, ice at Rideau Falls. It looks absolutely incredible. Just an eye-catching view right there, almost like something out of a sci-fi movie. But that gives you an idea of just how cold it is here in Ottawa. Frozen water all over the place, looking like someone was doing some ice fishing there on the river as well. You can see the satellite radar not bringing much in the way of precipitation today, but we do have some snow in the forecast for tomorrow. It's cold out on the East Coast as well. Really no one escaping this winter weather. Minus 17 in Charlottetown, minus 19 in Fredericton. And here in our region, yeah, we're sitting at minus 22, so par for the course compared to some of the other cities nearby. Quebec City at minus 24, Sudbury minus 23 degrees. And even out in the prairies, it's cold. Vancouver is pretty much the only exception at 4 degrees, but we've got minus 27 in Winnipeg and Regina, minus 30 in Saskatoon, and that is one of the coldest cities in the country right now. In fact, it is the coldest city in the country. We're going to expect things to drop to minus 29 degrees this evening, although it will be relatively clear and the wind will be mild, but that wind will pick up to 16 kilometers an hour for tomorrow afternoon, expecting a high of minus 18 degrees. So very cold, and it's the same story in the Ottawa Valley. We expect the Seaway to be slightly warmer, but more snow in the forecast for tomorrow afternoon. So something to keep in mind. There's a yellow snowfall warning that has been issued by Environment Canada. Yellow is the code yellow. There won't be yellow snow falling from the sky, but enough to trigger a warning from Environment Canada. You can see that things will start to get back to seasonal around Monday into Tuesday, but those overnight lows are still around the minus 20 degree mark, and we have minus double digits as our daytime highs until Saturday. Of course, that can change when we're talking about 7 days from now, but very cold, good amount of snow in the forecast for the next few days as well. And as parts of the country deal with the bitter cold snap, one Ontario community is doing what it can to help find those in need shelter for at least the night. CTV's Daryl Newcomb has more on a temporary solution that's being rolled out in London.
from.
London's soon-to-open micro-modular shelter community began last fall as a direction to city staff by Mayor Josh Morgan.
This is not meant to be something permanent. This is an emergency temporary shelter that we've had to build.
70 people will live in 60 structures that include a heater and basic furniture. Larger trailers are designed for meals, bathrooms, laundry, and recreation. The goal is for people currently living outdoors to be given an opportunity to stabilize before progressing into more formal housing.
Getting out of the cold, especially in a winter like this, I can say that a lot of people are eager to be coming here.
The tour experienced frigid conditions traveling between the trailers, but the city says the exposed location was considered in the design.
The perimeter fencing is actually going to have some cloth covering on it, which will help mitigate some of the wind blowing across the open field. Really excited for that to be installed. Kind of wish it was installed today. And then beyond that, we have 9 common trailers that are all going to be heated.
Cheese Factory Road lacks a sidewalk, and the rural property is located between Highway 401 and a ditch. The mayor says this when asked if he can guarantee residents' safety.
I can never give a guarantee that people will be safe anywhere in the city. You know, there's streets everywhere. There's traffic on streets. People got to be safe. But what we have here is a site that is managed, a site that has warm spaces.
This is meant to be a recreational space. So.
Residents will have to sign a participation agreement and contribute their shelter allowance from Ontario Works or ODSP. Upon opening, there'll be a no guest policy, and consideration has been given to addressing alcohol and cannabis on site.
We don't want to be inviting any of that stuff on site, but we understand people may use that as they would anywhere else, and we want to make sure something in a very safe and appropriate manner.
Construction continues, but the first residents will move in next week.
We need electrical to the support trailers, a little bit of plumbing work, so we need to make sure those pipes are insulated before we turn the water on. But other than that, we're just about set.
Council approved spending up to $7 million to construct and operate the site until April 2027. After that, the mayor says it depends on the state of the homelessness crisis.
You have mayors calling for this to be elevated to the top of the provincial agenda, and we're willing to work in partnership to try to take a real run at solving homelessness in this province. If we don't do a good job, there's going to be a continued need for the site.
Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
If you have had one or more past concussions, drive safely.
Still ahead, how a history of concussions could have a major impact on the outcome of a car crash injury.
The most important part of any journey is to arrive safely. Hi, I'm Patricia Bowl.
And I'm Stefan Keys from CTV. Distracted or impaired driving can have devastating consequences.
Hey, it's Ashley.
And Gord from Ottawa's Pure Country 94.
Always plan for a designated driver, and please keep your phone down.
Everyone can help keep communities safe.
Drive safe. Brought to you by the Ottawa Safety Council. For more information on road safety programs and services, visit ottawasafetycouncil.ca.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
It is time now to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
Coming up tomorrow at the Kingpin Arts Center, Stories and Sweets celebrating Black history. This features a vibrant vendor market, live performances, spoken word, a panel discussion led by Black creatives and professionals, plus lots more. The celebration of community, culture, creativity, and the voices and artistry of Black Canadians. Definitely a great one to check out. Next up, fun for the whole family at the Trend Arlington Winter Carnival. This is a full afternoon of outdoor fun, treats, and activities for all ages. It features magic shows, horse-drawn sleigh rides, a bake-off, skating and pickup hockey, and lots more. Tomorrow from 1 to 4 p.m. Oh, it's at 50 Bellman Drive. Can't go wrong with some winter family fun. And last today, Atlantic Voices is proud to present its midwinter concert featuring songs of light and hope to warm your heart. This is at Centertown United Church and will feature uplifting music from African Nova Scotian gospel to artists like Stan Rogers and Gene McClellan. It kicks off at 3 p.m. with a reception to follow the show. Tickets start at just $30. As usual, lots more happening this weekend around Ottawa. The full list and all the details at ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, my name's Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
Oh, we are learning more every year about the long-term impacts of concussions as researchers pinpoint how brain injuries can have a ripple effect throughout someone's life. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chen has more.
Researcher Donald Redelmeyer says for every person that dies in a motor vehicle accident, 6 others are left with permanent injuries. And while some of the more common factors considered in long-term disabilities include the severity of injuries, length of hospital stay, and concurrent mental illnesses, another factor came up.
The big surprising finding was that a past history of concussions was associated with a 15% further increase in the risk of long-term disability. And these might have been concussions that occurred years and years before the actual motor vehicle crash.
Redelmeyer says the message goes beyond trying to avoid getting into a car crash.
If you have had one or more past concussions, drive safely, especially late at night, which we found were associated with the highest risks of long-term disability. Suggesting that once you've had a concussion, you may not be exactly the same, even though you feel the same, you just don't have that same reserve capacity to recover from the next bad thing that comes along.
Another study looking at the long-term impact of concussion is out of the University Health Network.
Even just that repetitive head impact where people don't even realize that they're having a concussion could be setting you up for delayed neurodegeneration decades later.
The finding is especially significant for parents and childhood sports instructors. Dr. Carmela Tartaglia cites sports like boxing, hockey, football, rugby, and soccer, especially for girls, who she says are especially vulnerable to concussions. The message from Tartaglia's study?
Even one concussion can put you at risk of dementia. And so, of course, this idea that you have to protect your brain throughout all of your life.
She hopes attitudes, especially in sports, which are most likely to be a child's first exposure to concussions, will continue to evolve. For example, setting age limits to begin heading the ball in soccer. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still ahead, young dancers of all ages took the leap to audition for Canada's National Ballet School today. We'll have more on that in just a moment. In tonight's big picture, the aurora borealis lit up Greenland's capital of Nuuk, painting the sky a vibrant green hue. The phenomenon is caused by solar storms emitting high-speed charged particles colliding with gases from Earth's atmosphere, and the most common color seen during this display is green, although some other colors like pink and red are sometimes visible as well. I'll turn you now to some of the other stories that you need to know right now. And for this, we welcome CTV's Natalie Van Roy. Natalie.
Well, thanks, Austin. Engaged couples got a head start on planning their perfect day this afternoon. Wedding bells were in the air at the Capitol Wedding Show. The event kicked off at 11 a.m. at the Ottawa Conference and Event Center and ran until 4 p.m. It featured a fashion show, goodie bags, decor displays, a gown sale, and a bar for bubbly. The show was back on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Young dancers of all ages took the leap to audition for Canada's National Ballet School today at Canterbury High School. The auditions took place in Ottawa as part of an 11-city search for new talent. The prestigious professional ballet academic program in Toronto brings dancers to the next level and even gives some a chance at securing a spot in productions like The Nutcracker at the Four Seasons Centre of Performing Arts.
I would not suggest that anyone coming to Nashville plan on wearing number 59.
Yeah, exactly.
And Washout score!
The Ottawa Senators are back on home ice tonight, facing off with the Carolina Hurricanes. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. at the Canadian Tire Centre, and the team is hoping for a win after coming off a week-long road trip, losing 5-3 against the Nashville Predators on Thursday.
Now Gilday in the zone, absorbs the hit as well. A good feed for Gava! Finds the back of the net!
A heartbreaking loss for the Ottawa Charge this afternoon as the team faced Montreal Victoire. That goal in the second period, but it wasn't enough for the team. The Charge losing this afternoon's game 1-3. And Ottawa did come in strong on a winning streak with a 4-3 overtime win against the Sirens in Newark on Tuesday. The team is back on the ice next Wednesday, January 28th, against the Seattle Torrent, and puck drop is 7 p.m.
Tried to knock it down. Ekberg has it stolen by Posthumous. At the Ottawa line, here's Posthumous, scores! What a
And the Ottawa 67s hosting the Oshawa Generals at TD Place this afternoon. The Barber Poles starting off strong, getting 2 goals in the first period and 2 in the second. And Ottawa would go on to win this one. 4-3 is the final score. The 67s are back on the ice tomorrow to take on the Saginaw Spirit at 3 p.m. And that game is also at home at TD Place. Austin.
Yeah, I saw some of the Oshawa Generals players, actually. They're staying at the hotel, the Endes Hotel, just down the street from our station here.
How nice.
Yeah, and they were running down the street, not dressed for the winter weather.
Oh, no.
So maybe that factored into the game tonight.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, we
possibly.
don't know.
But go 67s, go. They are tearing it up this year.
We are so excited. This is the 70th prediction for Wiarton Willie.
Still ahead, will it be an early spring or a late one? There's a rodent that has something to say about that. Before we go to break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is minus 22 degrees.
Tonight, Trump threatens 100% tariffs on Canada.
It's a serious statement. We'll take it seriously, but we have to control what we control.
Reaction to the latest ultimatum over Ottawa's trade deal with China. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
Lots of layers, yeah. And then it's fine, then you're good.
Well, the extreme cold can be dangerous for some. It is settling over here in the nation's capital.
The moment I walked through these doors, everything changed for the better.
An organization that supports women in crisis marks a pivotal milestone this year. Harmony House, providing a home for women fleeing abuse, now in its 40th year.
I think the team I enjoy the most coaching is Ottawa.
And welcoming a legend to the Ottawa Senators Ring of Honor, the Sens honoring Jacques Martin, 30 years after he coached his very first game. And I'll final look at the weather forecast and what we're expecting to wake up to. Spoiler, it's going to be really cold still, minus 25 degrees, and the snow picking up over the course of this evening, later in this evening, and then carrying over at least periods of snow through tomorrow. Sticking in the minus double digits until probably Saturday, but even then, the high is just minus 9. Finally for us tonight, if you're anything like me and you're fed up with winter, we may be getting a glimmer of hope in a little over a week.
Well, that's the hope. Wiarton Willie, Ontario's famous Groundhog, will soon hit the stage to make his prediction for when winter will finally come to an end. CTV Scott Miller has a preview.
Willie did not see his shadow. We will have an early spring.
An albino groundhog will be brought out onto a stage in Wiarton to conduct his annual winter weather forecast.
We are so excited. This is the 70th prediction for Wiarton Willie.
For 7 decades, Wiarton Willie has been delighting audiences with his weather prognostications. 36 times he's not seen his shadow and predicted an early spring. 25 times he's seen his shadow, predicting 6 more weeks of winter. And 9 times there's no record of what his prediction was. No matter what he says, Willie's February 2nd prediction draws thousands of people from around the world to Wiarton each and every Groundhog Day.
It's an annual tradition, and it's a homecoming for many people that have grown up in the area, and they return home with their families and they share in the celebration. So we really are excited and looking to welcome everybody back to Wiarton for Wiarton Willie Festival.
While Willie's prediction is the highlight of the Wiarton Willie Festival, dances, games, kids events, and chili cook-offs start on Friday, January 30th and run right through until the big moment at 8:07 a.m. on Monday, February 2nd.
If you haven't seen the fireworks on a crisp February morning overlooking Cold Bay. It's something that everybody has to experience at least once. And we see, thousands of visitors coming to the area in the middle of, in February.
What Willie sees and says on February 2nd is still to be determined, but with constant road closures and 15 snow days for students in Grey Bruce so far this winter, the consensus in the Groundhog Day crowd will undoubtedly be for Willie to predict an end to winter as soon as possible.
We're looking forward to lots of community spirit in, the north winter. So it really is winter up here on the Bruce Peninsula.
In Wyerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Science be damned, leave it to the rodent. We will trust him wholeheartedly. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.